There was no law that said I had to resign. There was nobody forcing me to resign. In fact, several members of my own party team asked me not to consider resignation. But I always say that I have to be guided by my own conscience. When I get into my bed at nights, I must be able to sleep comfortably.
Flooding.
Now I'm calling on the government. I'm calling on the member of parliament and government that start taking the people of Negril, the business of the people of Negril, serious. Enough is enough. It can't continue the way it has been going. The people of Negril wants to see action.
Soil has been saturated and almost 90% of the community is underwater.
So we are looking at an airport, we're looking at a new town center, we are even looking at a cruise ship pier for Negril.
Government was also losing billions in terms of revenue, and we divested Norman Man International Airport also. We then went and we tried an experiment with Baskerville
Tropical Storm Raphael produced flash flooding in flood-prone areas island-wide on Tuesday before making a sudden departure up north. Several sections of Westmoreland, including the Negril area, were severely affected by the passage of the tropical storm. Speaking to CVM News, PNP caretaker Hayles emphasized the urgent need for drain cleaning in regions heavily reliant on tourism.
Let it be known that Negril is the mecca for tourism in Jamaica land we love. And yet, the amount of tourism dollars that Negril brings to Jamaica, Negril does not even get back a quarter of it. Now imagine, the rainy season is upon us. Every year we have rainy season, yet the drains are not cleaned. The central government drains are not cleaned, which is run on the main road in Negril.
A seemingly passionate Hayles called on the government and the Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland to do more to prevent incidents of severe flooding.
Now I'm calling on the government. I'm calling on the Member of Parliament and government that start taking the people of Negril, the business of the people of Negril, serious. Enough is enough. It can't continue the way it has been going. The people of Negril wants to see action. It can't be that is when the flood come, you start reacting in terms of saying you need to clean the drains.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland, Moreland Wilson, was in the McNeil land community in the Little London division during Tropical Storm Raphael, rendering assistance.
The soil has been saturated and almost 90% of the community is underwater. The Ministry of Labour is responding. They are currently in Negril, helping those who were flooded out yesterday. And we asked them to get into the McNeil land community to see what assistance they can lend.
Hayles also raised concerns about the government's alleged delay in addressing what he described as a flood-prone area, citing the residents of Negril are taxpayers too. Britannia Witter, CVM News.
Still out west, plans to construct an international airport in Negril have brought mixed reactions. Political representatives shared their views on these measures to develop the tourist hotspot. Adrian Williams tells us more.
Plans to develop Negril are on the table with an international airport in the mix. Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Western, Moreland Wilson, endorses the move to build the airport, but indicates that the government has a bigger plan for the parish.
It is not just an airport we're thinking about. The government has a comprehensive policy to develop the entire landscape of Negril. So we are looking at an airport, we're looking at a new town center, we are even looking at a cruise ship pier for Negril. So I welcome this development. It is something that Westmoreland and the Western Hemisphere hasn't seen in many years. And it goes to show the visionary leadership of our Prime Minister. And I'm 100% on board for this international airport.
Met with much opposition is People's National Party, PNP's caretaker for Westmoreland Western, Ian Hayles, who says this is just a setup for another failed institution leading to divestment.
One is we were running Sangsters International Airport and the government was losing billions, so we divested Sangsters International Airport. We then went on to Norman Manley International Airport, where government was also losing billions in terms of revenue, and we divested Norman Manley International Airport also. We then went and we tried an experiment with Baskerville Airport that is losing millions now also, and at some point it's going to be divested also.
He says the government needs to do away with the empty promises, as the locals and business operators all have one main issue.
The number one issue that we face here is water. We need water. The big hotel need water, the small hotel needs water, and the citizens and residents of Negril and the Westmoreland environment needs water. That's priority number one. Priority number two is the infrastructure in terms of the road network. You can't go to an airport if you don't have road to drive on.
But just what benefits do the government see the airport bringing to the people of Negril?
We'll see ease of transport into Negril. We'll see residents having greater access to international airport. We'll also see a reduce in the traffic that is going into Sanchez International, and there'll be a corresponding reduction in the amount of persons traversing from Negril into Montego Bay to catch their flight out of Jamaica.
Hayles, however, is calling the announcements a political ploy.
A couple of months ago, you came and you said, look, we're going to give you water. We have found the money to bring the water from Roaring River into Negril at a cost of over $200 million US. So it is promises after promises. This is a government of promises. Nothing more you're going to get from them. The election season, our cycle is about to start, and it is promises after promises. Give us the people of Negril and Westmoreland. Give us water. Give us road. Don't give us any more promises.
Adrian.
Just over a year since her resignation from the post of Speaker of the House of Parliament and as Member of Parliament for South Trelawney, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert has officially clarified her decision. This as she encountered a sea of supporters and journalists on nomination day in Albertown, just outside the constituency office she occupied for 17 years.
I resigned because at the time, the Integrity Commission recommended that I be criminally charged. I felt, and I still do, that it was the responsible thing for me to have done at that time. There was no law that said I had to resign. There was nobody forcing me to resign. In fact, several members of my own party team asked me not to consider resignation. But I always say that I have to be guided by my own conscience. When I get into my bed at nights, I must be able to sleep comfortably.
It's also the first time most people were hearing of the progress of the court matter.
I have placed my hands into the courts. The court system is a system that I respect and I believe in. And we have made submissions. And we are now awaiting a ruling. And when I saw, and I've heard every single day, calls and the cries from people of South Trelawney. And when I resigned, I never put my car or took a call from anybody here until the recent parish council municipal elections were called. Parish council elections were called. That was the first time this year that I put my car back up into South Trelawney.
Meantime, the attorney points out it was the resounding calls for her return and outpouring of support that prompted her candidacy.
The love and the support I got from South Trelawney was overwhelming. We went in with 4 divisions and with 3 divisions and came out with 4. And every time I met with the workers, every time we had a gathering, they said, Mama, you're coming back? You're coming back? And I always said, I never said I was coming. My mind was not there. I said, give me the parish council elections. And I was overwhelmed because we took all 4 parish council elections. And the same conscience that took me and brought me to a point where I resigned is the same conscience now that tells me I must return to my family in South Trelawney and serve them.
She reminds every election since securing the seat for the Jamaica Labour Party nearly 2 decades ago has seen her margin of victory increase. Nomination day activities ended November 6. Director of Elections Glaspole Brown hailed it a seamless success.
Trelawney South, you have 2 persons, one independent and one representing the Jamaica Labour Party. In St. Andrew Northwest. You have 2 independent and 1 from the Jamaica Labour Party. In terms of the municipalities, from Morante, there are 2 candidates, 1 for representing Jamaica Labour Party, 1 representing the People's National Party. In the Indian Town Division in Clarendon, there are 2 candidates, 1 representing Jamaica Labour Party and 1 representing the People's National Party. So all 4 locations we have election on the 22nd of November.
When the media caught up with him in Clarendon, he countered suggestions that Tropical Storm Raphael's passage might have impacted the Commission's preparation for the nomination activities. Brown reiterated the ECJ's readiness for the by-elections 2 weeks away.
We have started our preparation. Now we're going to the final phase. Now that the nomination is over, we now begin to do our preparation, begin to print the ballots, begin to train our persons, and begin to do everything that needs to be done, that we are ready for the 22nd of November.
He assures there is little to no pressure on him and his team as they host several by-elections shortly before an expected general election, adding preparation is key. Logistically, he says nomination day and election day are covered.
At each location, you have the RO, the assistant RO, and also an officer from the office. And that's so that will be available at 4 different locations. For the election itself, we look into recruit close to a little bit in excess of 1,000 persons. That assists us in the 4 different locations in terms of having elections.
I know you say you have everything intact. Can you speak to any impediment where budget?
Well, we have submitted our budget. Our budget is now with the Ministry of Finance.
The opposition People's National Party has opted out of the 2 constituency by-elections, only contesting the 2 divisional ones.